Hey fellow astronomers, I just wanted to make a quick video on the OnStep smart hand controller. This is a really nice product, and essentially I built an OnStep controller a number of months back, and why I didn't build a hand controller, it was always kind of on the to-do list, and finally I got around to doing it, and I should have done it months ago. It's super easy if you use an OnStep. Make a smart hand controller. It's really simple. I was using this cheesy Los Mande one, which worked fine, but again, for about 30-40 bucks, not even, you can build one. And so essentially what it is Dave Swartz, actually I believe, deserves a good chunk of the credit, and I think he did a really good job. The board layout is on Easy EDA or whatever that you can order from. I ordered up 10 of them. You got to order a minimum of 5, and I think it was, I don't know, something like an extra $5 for 5 more of them. So I just ordered up 10 of them, so I've got tons of them. The boards are really simple. However, you don't need all the pieces even that he's shown. All you really need is just the board itself, the push buttons. So there are 6 push button switches that you need. For whatever reason, and I think on Easy EDA, I think it's actually got the wrong part number, because the one, I thought I ordered the one straight from there, but these were the surface mount buttons rather than the ones with the pins through. I didn't really care. I just surface mounted them anyway. Another thing to be aware of is, and I didn't realize that either, there's a 5 button. You can use a five-way switch in the middle. These some people say they really love them. I actually got them and took it out. I didn't care for it. It's no extra functionality. I didn't even realize that. You can use the menus and everything the same with the up and down, right and left buttons. In fact, if you actually look at the schematic, they're wired to the exact same switches. So these come from China. I'm still waiting on my ones from China, and it's been, I don't know, like 4 weeks now. I got tired of waiting, and I actually just ordered these. I think it was from a place in Canada, and they were like $2 a piece instead of 40 cents or whatever, but I just wanted them, and then I got them, and I'm not using them anyway. But just be aware of that. The 5-way is not needed. If you want to go that route, absolutely. I actually prefer not to even use it. So literally, again, you just need the board, what, 2, 4, 6, 7 of the push button switches. And then there's 3 capacitors. Nothing special about the capacitors. When you do assemble it, there is some writing on the capacitor and a dot, and that goes in pin 1. That's really the only thing to know. Dave, there actually is another hole. I don't know why there's an extra hole in this first set of capacitors as well. But literally you just put in your buttons, put on your capacitors, same thing there. Pin 1 is labeled pin 1. For the other capacitor, obviously the negative, he's even got the nice little plus and minus on the boards. So that's pretty much it for that. On the top, he did have, and again, I ordered it just because I looked and said, okay, this is the parts I needed. I ordered everything, and then once you get it put together, you go, well, you don't really need this. There's 2 of these that are up here. It is a really nice option. It turns out for the video screen, these video screens that you use, they come in 2 versions, and mine happens to be voltage and then ground. I guess some of them say ground and then voltage. So that's all these 2 dip switches, or these whatever you call the jumpers, are for, is setting either voltage and ground or ground and voltage. So you really don't need any of this. All you need to do is just solder across whichever 2 pins you're using. So again, I won't even recommend it. I mean, I didn't even put them on my boards. The main ESP32, again, I'm not using the tiny board. I'm using the ESP32. You just put that straight in, no plug-in or anything like that, and just directly solder it on the bottom. And then the display, you do need the little 4 whatever plug-in thing for your display that goes on the top of there. That'll just plug in, and that's pretty much about it. I did also get some of the 6-pin connectors. I'm using the same on my OnStep controller itself, but after I soldered them on and put my case together, I ended up cutting them off and not using them anyway. So at the end of the day, all I needed was the board, the 3 capacitors, the 7 switches, the ESP32, your display, and the plug-in pin. That's it. You can order everything. All the links are everywhere. I'll post them on this video as well. When it comes to the hand controller itself, there are a number of them out there. The one that Dave had, again, there's nothing wrong with it. I wasn't quite sure, in order to get my 6-pin connector to fit, I actually had to cut the bottom out, and I don't see any other way of that working, so I'm not sure if I had ordered the wrong connector there or what was up with that. But then he's got a cover plate that goes over the top. Your display goes on, and then this little cover goes on top of that, which is all, again, fine. I sat down Saturday and drew up a new one. I kind of wanted to make a nice flush face, so I went ahead and made up a flush face. You can just 3D print this. I'll throw this on Thingiverse. I did make a nice recess for the display. So there's actually 4 pins there that the display will sit right in. Do be careful with these. If you look on the bottom of them, the glass actually isn't supported. I didn't realize that, and I actually cracked the first one when I was playing around with it. There's plenty of clearance here, so there's lots of room, and I made a little recessed protector on the front of it as well, so it actually should fit in regardless of what printer you're using. You just slide that in. You can, if it's up to you. I took just some hot glue and I glued the corners in, and that way it's just in and I don't have to deal with it falling out or getting loose or anything like that. So you just print that out. As far as the push buttons go, I'll post these as well, but basically I've got a few versions. There's one version that will fit directly on those, and they fit relatively tight, which is fine. But I know everybody might solder a little bit differently, and you have different printers, so I'll also put kind of the second version, which is basically exactly the same. It's a little bit looser fit. Oh, back to the 5-way switch. Dave, one thing I did want to mention that I think is really important is on all the 5-way switches, pin 1 is typically always the ground, and if you look on the board, it's actually labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not right. Pin 1 is actually this one in the lower right-hand corner, so pin 4 should be pin 1. So I didn't realize that. I assumed pin 1 was pin 1 on from the drawing, and soldered that all on, and then it ended up not working, and that's what I had to figure out. So that's definitely wrong. If you do put a push button switch, all you have to do is just short out just between the top pin and the bottom pin. That's it. You don't even have to connect the opposite side on, because that's all you're using it for, is just the enter button to enter the menu. So with the 3D board, yep, print out your buttons. Go ahead, put them all in. No magic going on there. Put your case on. Oh, back to then the cable. With my case, I don't have the connector. I had to take that off. So you just cut off your cable and wire it up here. White is the bottom right pin, so it goes white and then black, I believe, and then the 4 other colors that are left is just in the same order that the cable is laid out, or that you get from Amazon. And I think that's literally about it. It is, like I say, a really, really nice, I guess my back cover. I used 4 M2 screws in there, so literally put that on, put a little cable clamp across there, and that fits on there, and there you go. I think it turned out really well, and hopefully people will find it useful. I made a couple of these. They're basically identical. This one I did just sand it down and spray painted it black, which looks kind of nice. As far as functionality, everything's in here. You can guide faster, guide slower. If you push and hold the center button, that gives all your options in the menu. Literally, I'll probably just use this thing a handful of times because I use the computer to control everything anyway. But this is a really nice upgrade. Again, hats off to Dave Schwartz. He did a great job, and everybody else on OnStep. This is a great tool.